So Donald Trump is still selling his fantastical reality based upon this premise that if he just tariffs everything, America can be rich again. So rich, so rich, so wealthy. I make it rich. Apparently, he thinks if he enacts tariffs, it will make America rich again. I just want to highlight in this clip that Donald Trump just rambles all over the place. The singular last remaining brain cell is literally about to go to bed. It's just getting ready. It's putting on his pajamas, pulling up the covers, ready to go to sleep because Donald Trump is an incoherent mumbling mess in these next few minutes.
Word tariff is my favorite word in the dictionary. You know, we were the richest relatively from, think of this, from 1870 to 1913. That was our richest because we collected tariffs from foreign countries that came in and took our jobs and took our money, took our everything. But they charged tariffs, and we had so much money, they set up the 1887. Think of that, a long time ago, 1887 Tariff Commission. It was a commission of very important people to determine where we should spend all of the tremendous, vast wealth that we had. We had so much wealth. Wouldn't it be nice today? Of course, now we give it away to transgender this, transgender that. Everybody gets a transgender operation. It's just wonderful. No, we give it away like to crazy things. But in those days, it was different. It was a different world. It was a different country. But we were very rich because of tariffs.
I just want to highlight that this is conservative politics. They literally have no idea what's going on. You literally just open up their head, throw bullshit in it, whatever you want, whatever fuckery you want, close it, and they literally just obey. You ever seen the meme where you open up the back of the Wojak's head and you plant a chip with a new command in, then you close it? That's Trump supporters. They still believe tariffs are the solution to America's wealth. This is like a highlight of why the education system actually does need to have some input in, like, the Department of Education should actually impact what kids learn in school to some extent. The fact that there is not a significant focus on civics is part of the reason why we're here right now. The fact that Trump can sell the idea of a tariff-based economy in 2025 goes to show our education system has failed. I don't know why at this stage in the game, people in MAGA still believe tariffs are the answer. And he sits there and says, oh, you know, we were at our wealthiest from 1870 something to 1913 or whatever. No, no, no. Okay, even at that time, the majority of the wealth was hoarded by the top 10% of the country. The vast majority of Americans had nothing, no tangible assets, no nothing. And surprise, surprise, it seems like that's the future they want for us as well. They want an era where basically we walk our way back to feudalism. They literally want to go back in time and take this nation to a time where you have nothing and the rich have everything. Education becomes a luxury, something only the nobility can afford. Owning a home? Well, you can own one if you can build one with your own two hands. Stop looking for a handout. That's exactly what's coming for this country. That's the kind of society Trump wants to build. Trump is actually dumb enough to believe that the United States was at its wealthiest back then. Our wealth back then is nothing in comparison to the wealth we would have literally post World War II. What is Donald Trump even talking about? It's a dumb question for me to even ask, to even like pretend as though coherence and sensibility and an actual understanding of governance is something that would come from Trump. Whatever. He's literally just rambling shit. He claims that we've lost our wealth because of transgender operations. He actually did the meme. He actually did the meme in real life, where conservatives' understanding of government spending is just transgender surgeries. And if you tell conservatives they don't know what's going on, you get this angry response of, this is why we don't vote liberal, because you guys are so condescending. It's like, well, how can you sit there and disrespect everybody, put on this machismo identity of, you know, we take accountability and we always look out for ourselves and we build things with our own two hands. And then when someone says, hey, you missed a spot, you start bitching and moaning and whining and complaining. Just say you missed a spot, you're wrong there, you might want to correct your information if they get mad at you. Because they're not actually a movement of tough, independent, you know, hyper masculine men who are perfectly capable of being accountable for themselves and being able to acknowledge when they're wrong. No, it's not about that. Trump voters don't give a shit about what's correct and what's incorrect. They want their false information to be true. And if it's not true, they don't want to hear it. They would much rather you shut up and allow them to live out their fantasy. And I've said many times, this is going to fail. Eventually, all of this tariff nonsense that Trump seems to think is going to work will fail. There's a reason why the United States stopped doing tariffs on everything. It's not a sustainable economic platform. Once you cut the United States off economically from the rest of the world, they're not going to sit there begging you forever. They're going to slowly but surely, with difficulty and with harm, but still slowly but surely start trading with one another and slowly but surely cutting us out of the global economy. The United States is not invincible, as we've clearly seen with the return of this dickhead, retard, moron Trump. As we've seen with his return, it's an everlasting reminder. At any moment in time, this nation can literally just crash. Senator Thomasum, we were so rich with tariffs. His favorite word in the dictionary is tariff. How about you actually sit down for a second and understand how the government functions and realize that your ridiculous solutions don't work? It's a far out request, but this is the reason why when this all falls apart, conservatives have to own this. We can't make the mistake Abraham Lincoln made and the rest of these other people made, which is trying to welcome them back into the fold and pretend like none of this happened. They have to own it. Megyn Kelly has to own this. Joe Rogan has to own this. Tucker Carlson has to own this. The Daily Wire has to own this. Every single person who helped make this possible has to own this for the rest of their lives. For the rest of their lives. If this is going to, and we know it's going to implode. We know it's not going to last. If the Democratic Party and the anti-MAGA resistance solution to this problem is to just welcome them all back and let bygones be bygones, we're literally just going to come back to this standpoint again. We have to actually make these people own the consequences of this when the time comes. But this is just a highlight of like this is the frustrating reality of what I'm talking about. That if you try to tell conservatives, no, you can't use tariffs as a means of economic growth because it literally alienates the rest of the world and hampers global trade, they get mad at you. They get mad at you. These niggas actually get mad at you and literally just start yelling and crying and complaining and screaming about condescension. The same people who sit there and say they're emotionally tough enough are the same people who turn around and cry about condescension when you simply say, hey, you're wrong. Oh, and by the way, we didn't gain a bunch of wealth because of tariffs. We actually gained a bunch of wealth because of our industrialization. But God forbid a conservative actually opens a book. It's like they want to be slaves on a plantation. They literally just don't want to read a book. They literally just want to sit there and be ignorant. You open up a book with a Trump supporter, they literally just turn to dust. They don't want to read. They don't want to read. They don't want to be informed. They just want to be stupid for eternity. And any attempt to turn them away from ignorance toward actual knowledge is met with contempt and anger and you guys are so condescending. It's the same shit. I'm telling y'all. This is what their immediate defense will be when you tell them they're wrong. They don't want to be right. They want the bullshit they believe to be perceived as right by everybody else. This is probably the dumbest tangent I've seen Trump go on, and that's saying something. The nigga gets every single historical reference he makes wrong, and then blames America's lack of economic success, which I don't even know what he's talking about because we're literally the United States for now. He blames his fantastical fan fiction version of America's collapse on transgender surgeries. This is the American government in 2025. And the Democratic leadership has literally zero idea of what to do. Instead of the leadership jumping on this speech and immediately clowning and attacking him, it's schismed. You got Jeffries stumbling and mumbling here. Schumer, I don't even know if he's on Earth right now. I don't even know where he is. AOC doing her best. Crockett doing her best. The party's a schismed mess. as Donald Trump stumbles and bumbles to tell even a bullshit story. He's even struggling to tell those nowadays. Time was, that shit used to just fly out. It used to fly out. The lies would multiply like the fish and bread. This man would literally just lie, miracle lies. Now he's struggling to even tell a coherent lie on stage. Tariffs made us wealthy, and then the transgender surgeries, and it all came down. And it's just, it's unreal to watch. This dude cannot even tell a coherent lie. And the Democratic Party is scrambling as though Donald Trump is some kind of Machiavellian schemer. Crazy timeline.